What's up, family? Y'all already know what time it is. Let's get to this word. I'm going to be reading from John chapter 4, verses. I'm going to start at 7, message version. A Samaritan came to draw water. Jesus said, "Would you give me a drink of water?" His disciples had gone to the villages to buy food for lunch. The Samaritan woman, taken back, asked, "How come you, a Jew, are asking me, a Samaritan woman, for a drink?" Jews in those days wouldn't be caught dead talking to Samaritans. Jesus answered, "If you knew the generosity of God and who I am, you would be asking me for a drink, and I would give you fresh, living water." The woman said, "Sir, you don't even have a bucket to draw with, and this well is so deep. So how are you going to get this living water? Are you a better man than our ancestor Jacob, who dug this well and drank from it? He and his sons and livestock, and passed it down to us?" Jesus said, "Everyone who drinks this water will get thirsty again and again. Anyone who drinks the water, I will never thirst, not ever. The water I give will be an artesian spring within, gushing fountains of endless life." Glory. The woman said, "Sir, give me this water so I don't ever get thirsty. I won't ever have to come back to this well again." He said, "Go call your husband and then come back." "I have no husband," she said. "That's nicely put. I have no husband. You've had 5 husbands, and the man you're living with now isn't even your husband. You spoke with the truth there, sure enough." "Oh, so you're a prophet? Well, tell me this. Our ancestors worshiped God at this mountain, but you Jews insist that the Jerusalem is the only place for worship, right? Believe me, woman, the time is coming when you Samaritans will worship the Father neither here at the mountains nor there in Jerusalem. You worship guessing in the dark. We Jews worship in the clear light of the day. God's way of salvation is made available through the Jews, but the time is coming. It has, in fact, come, when what you're called will not matter, and where you go to worship will not matter. It's who you are and the way you live that count before God. Your worship must engage your spirit in the spirit of truth. That's the kind of people the Father is out looking for. Those who are simply and honestly themselves before Him in their worship. God is sheer being itself spirit. Those who worship Him must do it out of their very being, their spirits, their true selves in adoration. The woman said, "I don't know about that. I do know that the Messiah is coming. When He arrives, we'll get the whole story." "I am He," said Jesus. "You don't have to wait any longer or look any further." Glory be to God. Just then, His disciples came back. They were shocked. They couldn't believe it. He was talking with that kind of a woman. No one said what they were all thinking, but their faces showed it. The woman took the hint and left. In her confusion, she left her water pot. But in the village, she told the people, "Come see a man who knew all about the things that I did, who knows me inside out. Do you think this could be the Messiah?" And they went out to see for themselves. Glory be to God, you guys. I also wanted to read as well Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1-2, New Living Translation. "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially that sin so easily that strips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy awaiting Him, He endured the cross, disregarding its shame. Now He is seated at the place of the honor beside God's throne." Glory be to God. Think of all the hostility He endured for sinful people. Then you won't ever become weary and give up. After all, you have not yet given your lives in your struggle against sin? And have you forgotten the encouraging words God spoke to you as his children? He said, my child, don't make the light of the Lord's discipline, and don't give up when he corrects you. For the Lord disciplines those he loves, and he punishes each one he accepts as his child. Glory be to God. You guys, say, the righteous are bold like lions. Say, I was that woman. You hear me? I was that woman rocking and rolling in sin, doing what I wanted to do, just in a sin cycle, married to one man and living with another. You hear me? And I could go on and on and on. But glory be to God. When I truly gave God my heart and asked him to come in, he accepted me for just as I was and forgave me for the things that I was doing. And when I began to turn from my wicked ways, then and humbled myself, then he was able to come in, you hear me, and be able to forgive me of the sins and heal my lands. Glory be to God. Say, I was in a sin cycle. It doesn't matter what kind of sin cycle you in, but when you get a taste of that living water, that real, true living water, glory be to God, you don't want to argue no more. You don't want to keep going back and forth, breaking up, getting back together. I can talk about me. That's what I was doing. That's how I was living my life. You hear me? Doing things knowing good and well that I was not pleased and I wasn't happy. Doing things that I knew that God was not pleased with me about. Glory be to God. Even I knew I shared that I was called by God, but it didn't move them. And I knew then, which I had already knew. But when you want to do what you want to do, baby, what he say? He chastises them whom he loves. I could never get up. It seemed like I could just never get ahead in that relationship. And I was like, even after my divorce, I still could never get ahead. But glory be to God. And I just kept on losing things. But oh, I thank God. Because see, he always speaks through my children, and I try to pay attention to my kids, because my big girl, she had a dream, glory be to God, and I had to take accountability for the things that I was doing and how I was living in my sin cycle. And when I began to analyze this thing, I knew that it happened to my mother in her first marriage. She was in a domestic violence relationship. It happened to my grandmother that I never got to meet, but I heard that she was also in a domestic violence relationship, infidelity as well. And then my grandmother on my other side, like the sin cycle of divorce, of domestic violence, of all of these things. And so I had to make it up in my mind that I can no longer be bound to that sin cycle. Glory be to God. And I had to let it go, because I tried. I ain't gonna lie. I tried to make it right. I tried to sanctify it. I tried to spiritualize it. Glory be to God. But time and time again, God would send someone. God would send a prophet. God would send somebody, a pastor. God would send a teacher. God would send somebody to let me know, on top of those dreams, on top of that feeling deep down inside, that it was not right. Glory be to God. But I had to go through that. And at that 7th year, I knew that that was completion, because I just could not get ahead. And I have no ill will. I have no ill feelings. I still pray for him, because that's my daughter's father. Why would I not? I still pray for my ex-husband. That's my kid's father. Like, why would I not do that? Like, I have to stand in my truth at the end of the day. But I know that me standing in my truth is going to help somebody. Because see, baby, when you know your worth, you will not just accept anything. And no longer will I just accept anything. I know what type of woman I am. And I know what I was doing before I fell into that trap of that sin cycle. Because I was not happy. Because I was steady begging somebody to pray with me. If a man doesn't want to pray with you, ladies, there is a problem. Ladies, if your man wants to pray and you don't want to pray, there is a problem. God has got to be the center of the relationship. Glory be to God. He said 2 is good and 3 is better. 1, the husband, the wife, and God. And so glory be to God. But I had to learn, and I'm living to learn, and my heart is still open and receptive, but I'm waiting on God. I'll wait on God this time. I won't do what I want to do. I'm going to wait in God. Glory be to God. Hey y'all, I got on here because I gotta keep it real with myself. Most of all, I will keep it real with y'all. But glory be to God, I gotta keep it real with my Father because He's the one who created me. He's the one who accepted me, forgave me, and said, Shamia, you got to tell everybody. That woman at the well went back and told everybody she knew, baby. And every chance Shamia gets, she's gonna open her mouth and say something. Open your mouth, say something.